Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Strive Summit podcast. I'm your host, Alex Hanna, and today with me I have Joe Levija. Joe, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Alex. This is Joe. Joe Levija. I've been in this industry now for a while. Some basic things, kind of about me is uh, I've been in this industry now as a second career for almost about 8.5 years now. Eight and
Mm-hmm.
a half, going on nine in April. So I enjoy what I do. Uh, I, I do I think I do pretty well at what I do. But I could say if you're someone who's looking for a career path, being in the AEC industry is definitely a fun industry to be in.
All right. So first and foremost, I couldn't go on without showing you the bear poncho and the Bears gear.
Oh,
So those listeners out there, Joe and I are big Bears fans.
mhm.
Also, uh, born and raised in Illinois, I can't be anything other than a Bears fan, and God forbid I'm a Packers fan. And my bosses are Packers fans, so I hope they listen to us and realize that the better team is in Chicago.
It is.
Um, also, how is it being out in Florida? You're like a transplanted Florida man now. So you fighting any Gators or anything like that yet?
Not yet. At least where we're at in our community, our our lake behind the house is pretty reasonable. We've seen one or two in there. That's about it in the last is about 8 or 9 months since we've been here. But there are some neighbors within the community that have some lakes behind their house, and they have several gators. They've had several removed, and then on top of that, they've had every snake under the sun that you can imagine. So,
Yeah, hard pass for me. I'm gonna leave Gators alone on that one. All
yeah.
right, Joe. Uh, I want to know about your story. So, how you started, where you came from, where you moved to, and kind of talk about where you're at today and what you've been
Mhm.
doing lately. And has there been any new tech or software you've been playing with lately? I definitely want to hear about that. You're always talking about new software.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to start with a little bit of where I come from.
Okay.
Uh, so when I was getting out of high school, I'm still younger. So I graduated high school in 2006, which made 36 years old. Shortly after graduating high school, I met my wife at that point, and we've been together ever since I was basically 19 years old, and she was 20, going on 21. We had our daughter young. Um, so I was 19 when we had our daughter. So we've we kind of we came out at a, I'll say, a special time. We're gonna call it special because everybody knows 2008 the market crashed.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically started both working together in a grocery store, worked our way into jobs that we could obtain it because we initially lived in the Tampa Bay area then. Jobs we can attain. So I moved into a job doing call center type of work and working in the finance industry, and then working in the medical industry and doing registration and medical records and all sorts of other entertaining stuff. We did that for a little while. She did some factory type of work and everything along those lines. And we had a young child at that point. So we were staying with my parents for a little while. We were staying with her parents for a short period of time, and we got to that point, man, where we just couldn't get ahead. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as 2008 hit, we I went on unemployment pretty quick. My job was outsourced. She was part time, working at multiple places part time. We didn't have education at that point, so we wanted to make a change. So we basically picked up and we moved to Chicago for a year after I lived up here when I was younger. Um, but then after a year in Chicago, we had an opportunity to go up and stay in Madison, Wisconsin. We spent almost 12 years in Madison, Wisconsin,
Wow.
and that's where shortly after getting up to Wisconsin, we we were working, we were doing good. We were both working full time, doing all our other stuff like that, and just basically medical industry and factory. Well, I got sick. My wife got hurt. We had our son at that point. and we uh, we found out that it just wasn't paying the bills. The
Mm-hmm.
more we made, the less we brought home in a paycheck because inflation was crazy at that point. So this is 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. So in that time frame, we decided in 2012, I saw something on the TV for ITT Tech, and both myself and her decided, well, we wanna live, we want to do better in life, we want better
Mm-hmm.
for our kids. So we both went to school, working full time, went to school full time, on campus, and then everybody that we could possibly have help us, from family coming up to and from Florida, um, to friends and family that lived in the Chicago area, lived in the Wisconsin area, neighbors, everybody, and then some help with the kids and help with babysitting. And of course, we still had obligations and stuff like that because
Mm-hmm.
it was quite a bit of time, and we were working full time, so couldn't pay for daycare to save our lives at that point. I mean, still, you know the deal. A couple $100 a week is more than our paycheck. So, especially for two kids, one in diapers and one just shortly out of diapers. So we got our degrees, and once we got our degrees, that's when we joined the industry. Both of
What
us.
did you what'd you get your degrees in?
So we got an associate's degree each one of us. We sat in class together with a bunch of classmates, but we each got associate's degrees in drafting and design technology. So
So I don't want me to cut you off. I had the exact
no,
same course and the exact same degree. I don't know if you
awesome.
knew that. I went to IT Tech, did the whole thing. Now, from
Mhm.
what I remember, we had to do hand drafting. So we learned all
Yes.
hand drafting. Then we had some
Oh
visualization,
yeah.
but then it was never a focus on a software. It was just try all these softwares.
Yeah, all the
Okay.
Autodesk platform,
Yep.
basically. Yep.
Sorry,
Yeah, we did the
continue. I just
same
thought it was
thing.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we got our associate's degree in 2015. We did both. We pulled our classmates together. So we fought to bring enough people together to get them to open up the bachelor's classes on
Mm-hmm.
campus. So we were able to get the required, I think, 6 or 7 people to open up the bachelor's classes. So we went for our bachelor's degree. However, after graduating, so we graduated, I think it was July of 2015 with our associates. We went on to August and then all the way through to September of 2016. We went on with all our bachelor's classes, did all our project management classes and our construction classes and everything, and all the lead stuff and everything like that. And then the school closed. We were 3 classes shy
Mm.
of graduating with a bachelor's degree in construction project management. So
Damn,
that was,
Joe. I mean, so far it has been a struggle, but you know what? The fact that you guys keep going and keep lifting each other up, that's great. I love that.
oh yeah, yeah. That's one thing that I will say is, like, when we were younger, leaving Florida and basically going up, it was sink or swim.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to a state that, I mean, I had family up there. She had some family in the area, in the Chicago suburbs area, but not a lot of family that we've we've really been able to spend our day to day with. We'd see on vacations or so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But just, I mean, we put ourselves in a situation where we had to rely on each other. We set goals, and that's exactly what we ended up doing. And that's why we're together still today after almost 17 years of being together. So, and then having a 16-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old boy, and working together, going to school together. We're in the same industry together, somewhat similar. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what really kind of keeps us moving forward. Um, with that being said, industry wise, when we were in school, we had the luxury of working with some great professors. Um, Several of them were there to show us the ropes. Basically, I mean, we had an architect for a professor, we had a DoD civil draftsman and engineer, and with a master's degree as a professor who runs this, I mean, amazing civil highway stuff
Mm-hmm.
that they do. And then we had another professor who mechanical um, mechanical drafter, designer, engineer. Also, he's done project management and everything as well. And our professor was the one who helped both of us get into jobs. So we really we had some great people in our corner throughout our whole career, also throughout our whole time um, in school and getting us introduced into the industry. So I will
So
say it took a lot of work, but we did it.
so I have to say, like, I remember the struggle. So I went to ITT and I did the night jobs, or the night school. So
Yep.
I decided to go to school um right out of wasn't out of high school because I did a lot of other stuff right out of high school because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any career
Same
path.
here.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tried to go to community college for a bit, dropped out of that.
Yep.
Um,
Same
I
here.
worked a lot, had two, three jobs all the time. So I had money.
Mm-hmm.
I was single. I was blowing it out on the weekends at NIU with my buddy at the college. And so, I was
Mm-hmm.
having a good time. Decided to go to school and saw ITT Tech. And, I don't come from the, the, you know, wealthiest household. So
Yep.
going
I
in,
understand
having
that.
my mom sign that I'm a consenting adult and take it all on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So, you take those responsibilities and did the night
Oh yeah.
classes, did the jobs. And I mean, I remember struggling, like having panic attacks in the parking lot, talking to my girlfriend, who is now my wife now, like, hey,
Oh.
what do I do? I'm like, she goes, you got to go through it, you got to finish it, you'll be fine. End up finishing it. I will say, I didn't quite have the same experience you did, but they did help me with job placement for sure. And there was one instructor I know. He was a designer for Cat, so
Oh
he
wow.
developed, the quick coupler
Uh
that
huh.
Cat has. He designed that quick coupler,
Oh,
and
that's
that's what
awesome.
they use. It was the coolest thing ever, and that's what got me
Mm-hmm.
into it. So I went for like mechanical engineering, mechanical drafting, and like that was my path. I was gonna avoid construction because I hate fractions, which is the silliest thing, and I've said that a couple of times. But fractions were
Mm-hmm.
not friendly to me, so I was like, nope, I'll do decimals. 0.125 sounds a lot better than 1/8. Wait, is
Yep.
that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
minute. So so I mean, I'm thankful I went, and then I actually was able to graduate 2014. Oh, maybe it was
Ah.
2015. The same thing. I mean, I graduated high school in '09. I mean, we were probably could have been in the same high school,
Oh yeah. Definitely.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's been a journey, definitely since
Mm-hmm.
then. But I just think it's amazing how much perseverance you guys had for that. What was the first job you guys had out of ITD Tech that like kind of was like you had that aha moment that were like, yeah, this is the path for me.
Yeah. So my first job out of ITT Tech, I was working for a self storage company. Went in as just like a CAD tech, but I was there to help them also navigate additional softwares, considering all the software we've been through at ITT Tech and learned about. I was there to help them move kind of from the CAD world into um, whether it was going to be an inventor or it was going to be into Revit or some other software, Advanced Steel at that time, which was through Gray Tech at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked at some of those for them. I did a lot of research. I also did detail development and everything like that, and helped out with some of those different things. I will say what definitely showed me that I was interested is going in, and this is one of those companies. It's been around for 100 years. It's it's a manufacturing company, so they basically design all their self storage units, and they design like a whole building and everything along those lines. They manufacture all the parts and pieces, and then from that point, they send that over to the field and subcontractors that they work with. Otherwise, the customer themselves, they erect the set. So it's basically like a giant erector set with how everything's built out. And I was doing some permit sets and stuff like that, helping out with that, helping out with the details. But we had a lady in there. She'd been with the company for 20, 25 years or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
coming up on retirement. She'd taken AutoCAD and she had created Lisp routines to basically you answer a couple questions and out pops a permit set.
Oh
And
wow.
all your calcs are in there. Every everything from ramps if you need ramps to um, just different types of bricks, different type of, if it's going to be a lean-to or whatever type of roof type is going to be in there. All sorts of stuff was there, and it was just cool to see how that whole process there worked, and then taking that process after that was done, and then having Striker, which is another AutoCAD program that was kind of sitting on top as an add-on, having Striker set up to where once you take that model, you push that into Striker. Striker now stamps that in all your sheet metals and everything like that. So that's when I knew this is definitely an industry that I enjoyed. So
Yeah, that's a lot of
did
fun.
that.
I mean, seeing
Oh
all that
yeah.
tech kind of happen all at once, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think for me, I had so my first job interview out of ITT Tech. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to a company that makes." They want
Mm-hmm.
you to like kind of look at the software, and I'm pretty sure now it was Plan 3D. So
Oh really? Oh
I'm
wow.
almost positive. So I go in, they give me a I think they give me a SolidWorks test or an Inventor test. I can't remember which one it
Mm-hmm.
was
That would
because
be
I think they
intense.
wanted to see if I was spatially aware, right? And they were.
Mm-hmm.
Was at a desk. Two people were standing over me. I mean, this is like when 3D modeling was like starting to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, 2014, 2015. Um, and they sat me at a desk, both standing behind me, like make a cube, and I was like, make a cube, okay. Put a put a cylinder through it. Awesome. Cut the space. Awesome. I was like, so what do you guys do here? And so they show me the software, and basically we do software, and it's this 3D space that kind of
Mm-hmm.
organizes plants, and you can model and stuff in it. I was like, awesome. So what would I be doing? They're like, well, you'd be answering calls, and I'm like, so I'd be help desk and support. But they never
Oh
really put it
man.
that way. I was like, thank you, then no problem. And then the next one was like, we fold boxes, so it was like just flat
Oh.
designs, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Like, I really hope something's out there. The first job I
Mm-hmm.
had out of it was for it's a it's a airplane manufacturing facility. They basically took SolidWorks and they made static pitot test equipment, which is,
Oh
every
wow.
airplane has this nozzle sticking out of them, and
Mm-hmm.
basically that's what measures the altimeters and all that stuff, speeds and stuff like that. Well, every airplane is different. None of them have the same pitot. So what they were making was like this cover that would fit on it tight, and they'd blow air through it and test all the
Mm-hmm.
gauges before they flew. I think it was at that job that I realized that, yeah, this 3D modeling is my thing. And so I had a big
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing mindset behind that because I'm like, I'm taking these pieces, I'm playing with materials, I'm checking like temperatures and elasticity with temps and what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like. And I'm testing it against like real pitos in the office and getting, what do you call them? Like testers and see if that works. Man, I
Uh-huh.
lost words today. Um, and that was like 3D modeling manufacturing. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this for life. And then later down in my career,
Mm-hmm.
after going from that to firefighting and then trying to do that again, I ran into a modular factory, which was kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yep.
And I think at that point, it really clicked for me that, look, I can do manufacturing processing through construction, and I can see the things that are done and built and
Oh
walk
yeah.
through buildings and have a sense of pride of like, yep, I know that
Mm-hmm.
building, I know that building. I've virtually walked through that building, and like it's really cool now, especially the way tech advances. There's so many more things you can get into. All right, Joe. So tell me more about what happened after. So where are you at now? How'd you get to there?
So I am with a large company
Mm-hmm.
uh, by the name of Jacobs. I've been with them now for coming up on 2 years. Um, they're substantially larger than anything I've ever worked for. But they also work on the world's projects. They work on infrastructure type of projects, and they do stuff all over the world. Uh, and they just, I can be on a call with my team here in the United States and all of us from all over the country, and then still have somebody on from India because I got a team out there, and have team members from all over Europe, or team members from the Middle East, or whatever Asian country, or any of those types of countries, and we can all be working together with clients and vendors and third parties to collectively build a project. I mean, and not just a building, a 200,000, 500,000 dollar building overall construction. We're talking $1 billion projects. So it's really it took a minute kind of getting in and getting established, being in a call with 200 plus people on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis, and doing that for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day sometimes, and just getting used to the sheer volume of everything that's going on. So, and that's what's cool. They've got so many different sectors in this company, and they've they've really allowed, at least on my team, that I'm working on. I'm part of the digital delivery team. What I get to do and what I get to enjoy doing every day is something that I kind of take pride of, is that project setup piece, helping out with training, helping out with some consulting, and just making sure that everything's kind of running correctly from a program side of the world. So utilizing the ACC, utilizing Revit, and not just setting up projects for MEP, which is where kind of most of my background's been over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm setting up projects for our architect team, structure team, process piping team. So we're bringing in stuff, whether it's Smart Plan or Plant 3D or some other type of software, and then also mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, instrumentation, and controls. I mean, all sorts of different groups, and everybody has something going on. And then we have vendors who have IFC files or have a wide range of other different types of files, and they're from all over the world. And I mean, we're literally customizing equipment for different buildings and different layouts and stuff like that. And then we've got campuses that we're working on. So it's fun using all that equipment, and then also having a team outside of my team, but still under the overall umbrella, that handles nothing but VR and AR and that whole 5D segment and just it's just cool to see, cool to be a part of, and just it's been really fun to do something that isn't just I'm going to set this project up in 2 days. Let me get my modelers in here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this turn and burn in 3 months, and we're out the door. I mean, you can realistically, with a company of this size, you can work 3 or 4 projects over the course of a 10-year career with this bunch,
Wow.
just on sheer size of these different types of projects. And what's awesome about the industry is, and you know this because you do this every day, you will not see the same exact thing day to day. There's always something different coming along. There's always a new piece of technology, like what we were talking about before a little bit with Visto. I mean, I'm used to using Navisworks for a lot of coordination. Well, Navisworks has moved into coordination and design, and everybody's talking about automation. Well, we do automation with Navisworks, especially depending on the software that we're working with. Certain pieces of software that are outside the Autodesk suite, we have to pull like an NWD out of
Mm-hmm.
that file in order to link it into Navisworks, and in order to get that back into Revit or AutoCAD or whatever programs we're working with at that time. Well,
Right.
now you've got other programs like Revisto who's out there, and it's another program that's changing the industry. And what I like about Revisto is they follow a similar format that all the other companies we've seen and we've come up with, whether it be Binbox or DTC or RBT or um, ILI BIM or any one of those other pieces of software. Those companies are all established by guys like us who sat and worked our butts off with little content, with little workflows, and we basically made it up as we went. We
Mm-hmm.
figured it out. We had workarounds. We figured out how to do the workarounds, and then Dynamo came out. We figured out we could play around with this, and those companies all sprung off of basically with guys like us who were doing the work and wanted a solution, and they found solutions. they made it, and now they've got things going on throughout the industry. So, and then now hearing AI is coming about, it's a whole new beast that
I've
I'm
been
looking forward to seeing.
I've been playing with some AI quite a bit now. So
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of AI for Strive, the podcast. Actually, the
Mm-hmm.
software we're using now to record this is, there's some AI integrated with it. So no, I tell you, it's been game changing for not only marketing but even the industry. There's Kirk Stockey has OpenBIM, which is a ChatGPT that's strictly BIM related. So if you have anything
Oh
related to
wow.
BIM questioning, it would switch to
Mm-hmm.
the right source. And so that's coming out. OpenBIM is kind of like, I think he's got to figure out something out with the name, but um, there's it's super impressive. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask you, talk about these very large projects, and maybe you can't tell me too much detail, but what's the project that you were most excited about, where you were like, holy crap, we're going to be doing this one? I want to hear about that. What is that project right now for you?
Uh, that's I actually see. I just delivered a couple of projects, so I'm in between right now. But
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you I've had a couple different projects. I'm going to say a couple different
Mm-hmm.
projects. I will say working on a stadium, especially being a sports fan, that was by far amazing.
Now,
A
did
lot
you
of work.
take advantage of that and go through it in VR and kind
No,
of
we
see
I
that
didn't.
space a little bit?
Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to do all that, and I was working on that when VR was starting up and kind of kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
But working on a stadium, working on a roller coaster, um, doing doing VDC on those projects, and then working on probably my uh, first big campus project. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a learning curve. I'll tell you that 100%. It's been a learning curve working on those projects. One, I'm from the MEP world,
Mm-hmm.
and coming from the MEP world, we're used to one building, maybe a couple buildings here or there, but we got one model for the building. It may have all MEP in it, it may not, um, may be individualized or whatnot. However, working on campus projects at the magnitude that we're working on campus projects with what I'm currently doing, we're setting up models dedicated to just the site. So we have to learn and use things like project base point and survey point and such like that, and make sure everything is aligned, and then bring all the subsequent models in off of that. So that was a little bit of a learning curve, and that took a minute to really learn. However, again, having a great supporting cast around me, having friends that I work with in house, and that can really help guide me, as well as if I just can't figure something out, I've got somebody to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got some friends that I've worked with at now multiple jobs. A supervisor I worked with at multiple jobs, and they were there to help me out where I struggled. And now I know that now I know that whole process. And then taking that and seeing, I mean, you've got 5, 10, 15 buildings on a site. You're now taking all those buildings, you're taking all those discipline models, you're adding all them together, and then you are now taking that, and that's running through your Navisworks, that's running into Revisto, that's running into all the different Revit models, that's running into CAD, that's running into Plant 3D off of coordinates. Everything is coming full circle into one large model, and then you sit in a meeting with owners and vendors and everybody else. And I mean, the amount of work that it takes is just it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. But then it just keeps moving day to day. It's awesome.
The incredible, like, outcast, I want to say outcast, the incredible group that you have,
Mm-hmm.
like, put together on these meetings that you talk about, from different countries and industries all coming together,
Mm-hmm.
including softwares and stuff. Like, I think a lot of that we take for granted, of like, oh yeah, Planet 3D and AutoCAD and stuff like that. There's people out there that have no idea that this stuff is even a thing, that you
Mm-hmm.
could do this for a career. Guys,
Oh
if
yeah.
you're out there and you don't know what to do, and you just want to coordinate construction with other countries on very large jobs and stadiums and campuses and things like that, BIM is the way to go. So
Yeah.
I guess, Joe, there's one thing I wanted to ask you about your story. What led you into drafting and design? What really was that? How did that become your pick that you were going to go and do into that?
Well, I when I was younger, I have family that has been in the construction industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I still have family that's currently in the construction industry, whether they were doing electrical, HVAC, or doing structural type of work with structural steel to project management, and I mean literally just building.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to at that point when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect because I like floor plans. I like nice layouts, nice things, and it's what I've always been drawn to, especially growing up down here in Florida. Um, you see nice things when you go out by the water and so on and so forth. You see these nice houses, you see these cool buildings. As you know as well, we're Chicago all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So what's Chicago known for? Architecture.
Yep.
And I mean that's something I grew up just in the back of my mind. Love the city, love the historic architecture and the preservation around it and everything along those lines. And having family actually go in and um, working on some historic buildings and pulling out like old pieces of glass from buildings where they used to make glass in the early 1900s or late 1800s, and then restore that to be, instead of a factory, something along the lines of an apartment complex or something like that. It was just something that I enjoyed. So when I saw a commercial to go into this industry, and I can go in the drafting and design side of the world and do all the drawing, um, either by hand or on PC,
Mm-hmm.
I knew at that point it was time. Especially I was working in healthcare. The Affordable Care Act was out, and I was doing customer service and claims. And I mean, when someone will wait 8 hours on a call on hold to speak to you to yell at you about the Affordable Care Act for whatever odd reason, it's time to switch careers. I
Mm-hmm.
found that real quick.
Takes a special
So
person to kind of do that. No,
yeah,
that's
and we
awesome.
we had hundreds
I
lined up.
that's awesome. Yeah, I remember wanting to draw and like do cartoons and stuff. I also wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be a race car driver and a ninja at one point, so I don't know how serious that was, but um, a lot of it was taking things apart, seeing how things
Mm-hmm.
worked. That definitely inspired me to get more into like the engineering side of things.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'd like to hear, what would you say to that person who's coming out of high school, not really knowing what they want to do, to maybe like take a look at BIM? How would you convince that person that, like, maybe this is the right path for you? What would you say is a
Well,
good trait to have?
so from a trait standpoint, just realistically, somebody who likes technology, somebody who likes the building aspect, likes to see things go up, likes to feel that level of accomplishment at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Because when you fill out a model and you start that process, you at the end of the day when there's just some basic walls and stuff. You add all your data or all your electrical or all your duct work and stuff like that for each floor or all your plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
You did something at the end of that day. So someone with that type of trait that really likes to see what they did, just same as the construction industry. Um, Somebody also who really has a desire to keep growing, because this is an industry that does just it will never stop growing. There's always a shortage every single day, and it's not. I mean, construction is one of the languages around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we might speak different languages, we might be from different countries, we might be different cultures, whatever. But every single day, there is there's somebody doing construction of some sort. There's engineering going on. There's architecture going on. It's building, whether it's virtual or whether it's actually building a building somewhere on a site, wherever that's at, or building a road or bridges or whatnot. So every country has infrastructure. They need infrastructure. So I mean, it's definitely fun to be part of that. Something else though that I would tell, well, something that I would definitely tell the upcoming class coming in. You can go to a 4 year university. You can go wherever you'd like to obtain a degree. Um, just know 100% the key component is never stop learning. So every day that we're in this industry, every day we're doing something, we're always learning, and you have to be hungry to keep learning. Just because you graduate doesn't mean the learning stops. Based on my experience, and I know based on your experience, it starts at that point.
Yeah.
And think about something that you enjoy doing. If you're someone who likes the game, or if you're someone who likes seeing cool things, like seeing cityscapes or whatever, that's an opportunity for you, and you really don't need to go and spend 4 years to be an engineer. If you're somebody who struggles in the classroom, just like I did, I mean, you can go get either get an associate's degree, or I mean, there's jobs here in the state of Florida. I mean, they're looking for a high
Join the
school diploma to do.
trades.
Yeah, join the trade. You can do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, even to get in a CAD jockey type of position down here, they're looking for a high school diploma in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you by chance manage to get into one of those roles, just put your head down, work for a while, and all of a sudden you're going to look up and you're going to realize you've had half a career, you've advanced, you're making good money, you're doing something that's enjoyable, and you don't have $250,000-$300,000 in student loans to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is always an industry that's in short supply and heavy demand every day of the week. So there's plenty of great opportunity. And just
Joe, would you say that where you're working is hiring right now?
oh yeah,
Oh, everyone's
we're always
hiring.
hiring.
Yeah. I want to say that other avenue is trades, and even like do the trades, do the 4 years, 6 years, get your license, get your journeyman,
Mm-hmm.
and then go into BIM.
Yeah.
You are immediately that much farther than anyone coming out of college, especially in an MEP manufacturing firm,
Mm-hmm.
because you have real world experience. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the college way is a great way to go because you can get all the education on the software.
Oh
You
yeah.
can be an amazing project coordinator, amazing,
Mm-hmm.
project manager and PM and BIM manager. But when it comes down to the actual science of modeling and stuff, if you
Mm-hmm.
have a plumber modeling for the plumber or an
Mm-hmm.
electrician modeling for the electrician, that's a game changer, and you're immediately that
100%.
much more valuable. So, yeah, definitely think about that as a path too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Joe, absolutely loved having you on. Definitely going to have you on probably on a game day here soon, so maybe
Definitely.
we can catch the game and talk shop. Um, is there
That'd be awesome.
anything you want to say last to the listeners, where they can reach you, how to get in contact with you, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. The best spot to reach me is find me on LinkedIn. I'll be under either Joe Levija or Joseph Levija, um, Joseph. First name Levija, Lev as in Victor, Ija. And when you find me on there, just feel free, send me a message. We'll connect. If I don't answer you right away, then I'll get on at some point. But depending on that time of the year, depending on that project, I may see LinkedIn once a day. I may see LinkedIn once a month if I'm stacked.
Yeah,
So yeah, if I'm putting in 14, 16 hours, so you see me getting up at 6 and getting on, and then I'm not getting off till 1 or 2 in the morning because we got a deadline hitting, I'll get back at you.
have I been saying your last name wrong forever?
Everybody has it.
Oh,
We're good.
I'm realizing what you're saying. I'm like, I've been saying
Hmm.
Levija, and Joe, Joe Levija.
Hmm.
I appreciate you coming on here.
Definitely.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all,
for
your
having me.
listeners. Yep, if you like the content, please feel free to like, subscribe, and follow Strive for more Summit podcast updates. Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
definitely. Thanks, guys.